and so each group gets kind of very, very, it kind of circles around the image that they most, probably the one, even if you aren't Catholic, you've probably seen the Our Lady of Guadalupe for Mexico. She's kind of like the Statue of Liberty for the United States. So just about every month there's some special celebration for one of the different cultures. It goes around perhaps one of their patron saints or an image of the Blessed Mother, but then there'll be usually a cultural party, processions or parties with food. A lot of parties here. It's nice. Yeah.
Very nice.
So December is the Mexicans, and January is Dominicans. I forget when the Ecuadorians are. Something for Colombians in September. So everyone kind of it's one of these ethnic pride. I'm Irish, so it's like Irish dressing in green on St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming up soon.
The other place too that might be a place of contact is we have our local. We have a parochial school here, Our Lady Perpetual Help School, maybe about 250 students, and I would say that's one of the places where the Chinese and the Hispanic community comes together. Again, there might be 10% that native English speakers at home, but when they all come together, for a school, that probably about 35% of the school is Chinese, and probably the rest are mostly Hispanics. So it is another place of encounter. The importance that people put on education.
Just on a more general note, how do you feel that? What role do you believe religion plays in Sunset Park? Because we've taken walking tours around here. There are a great number of churches. This one being the biggest.
Yeah.
Do you believe that? Well, actually, I just don't know. What role do you believe religion plays here in Sunset Park?
Well, I think I would go back to that thing about being familiar. When you come to a foreign country, you're lost. And if you can find a place and people who understand you and celebrate your differences, I listen to sometimes to the right-wing radio stations, and the immigrants are the worst people in the world, and we try to treat everybody with great dignity and worth. We've been working with a group. What are their names? Churches United. It's kind of a community organizing. I think it's kind of the group that President Obama probably was involved in. In Chicago. That. They come and meet with the different churches and try to community organize and see what's the biggest need here. When the woman who was coming here was interviewing people, it was mainly a fear of gangs and not enough to do for young people.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, I did want to, because you're from Greenpoint. This is the Catholic Church nowadays is dealing a little bit differently with immigrants. We've always been kind of an immigrant church, and in Greenpoint, you would probably see maybe 4 Catholic churches within 4 blocks of each other. And what they were the way that we dealt with it before was suppose there was a German community. Well, they would build their own church, and then there was an Italian community, and they would build their church, and celebrate each culture. So we had what we called national parishes, and most of the national parishes were in places like Greenpoint or Williamsburg. So wherever you see a lot of churches, most of those original ethnic groups have left, and they're left with Hispanic groups. So. In many ways, sometimes we even have to close down churches to try to consolidate. So what we're trying to do now is truly to have four different ethnic groups sharing one space respectfully and having celebrating our common faith, but I don't want to say it's separate but equal, because that sounds awful. But it's together but not homogenized. Which is I think in Canada, when they speak about their own immigrant experience, they don't see it much as a melting pot, as they call it, a mosaic, where every piece has a place, and so I would think that would be more our image of what we're doing here. That you're not trying to make it, oh, speak English, everybody. Let's celebrate what you have, and let the normal thing that happens, right? The first generation, will learn the language, and then their kids will, just remember the food,
Right.
So one of the things I have been surprised all throughout being a priest was sometimes even when when kids don't know the language, they still like the music and food seem to last longer than the language even,
But actually, even on your comment, I mean, I've lived in Greenpoint all my life. I'm half Polish, half Irish myself. And I grew up, I went to a Catholic school, and by now, though, 4 of the Catholic schools we had is St. Stanislaus Kostka, St. Cecilia, St. Anthony's, and one more. They've all closed.
Yeah. Well, mainly that's because, for a number of reasons, but mainly was that when I was growing up, we had a lot of religious nuns, and those schools basically ran because those women gave their lives in service. They got very little remuneration, and we've had a huge downturn in people becoming religious sisters. So that you have to pay a decent wage to lay. Peter, this, I think you need some batteries. I'm sorry. Okay, I think. All right. This is Father Peter. He's from Vietnam. He has a Vietnamese mass now, and he had the Chinese mass at 12 noon. So he's a wonderful younger priest. So So what it has to do is, if you're paying lay teachers, you got to pay. They don't get paid what the public school teachers do, but you have to pay them a decent wage, and then in demographics here, when you're a new immigrant here, when I was going through the school, because it was fairly economical, there was a lot more people contributing, and the nuns were contributing their lives, so it was a tremendous bargain, a gift rather, but nowadays I think if you've come from Mexico, for example, or Guatemala, and you register your kids in a public school, it is so far above what they were going to where they were that they wouldn't, thinking of a Catholic school education with having to pay $3,000 or $4,000 a year is just beyond them, So I think that's mainly what had happened.